Tony Ferguson is here. Said that he was pretty close.
Fucking did it to me again.
Hello, I'm Courvoisier, the goddamn newt. Welcome to Film Study. Today's subject is Tony Ferguson. At 33 years old and 25 fights under his belt, Tony Ferguson is primed for a career-defining run. Currently on a 9-fight win streak with wins in 15 of his last 16, Ferguson's mantra is, "It's not about the belt, it's about my legacy." Understandable outlook coming from the man holding MMA's best resume without a title shot. Tony focuses on what he can control, that's it. His work ethic won't allow him to ask or beg for opportunities. If he can't earn the belt, he believes he never deserved it. Talking your way into fights is something like cowardice. Understanding your warrior code is important, but film is truth 24 times a second. Let's consult the footage. Those who manage to do something free, noble, and unexpected are considered drunkards and madmen. They are called fools. You'll be forgiven if you look at Tony Ferguson striking and say, "That's not the way it's supposed to work." Calling him awkward ain't the half of it. Off-balance power hand leads when you have a quality jab. Why not? Eminari roll while getting the better of the stand-up. Of course. Randomly reaching down and touching the mat so the other dude can kick you in the face. Yes, please. He's effective, and that's what matters. Cardio is Ferguson's 9th limb and most destructive weapon. Ferguson sets a pace that can make a round and a half fighting him feel like an eternity in hell. General Patton borrowed from Shakespeare when he said, "Fatigue makes cowards of us all." Ferguson trains like a blue-balled badger. This is to immunize himself from the kind of weakness and doubt that plagues the exhausted. Yeah, some of his training methods are unusual, like kicking the shit out of Captain Crunch for breakfast. What? No crunch berries? Screw it. And BDSM by submission. Yeah, looks simple, but Tony had to whip 3 badass sea captains to build that thing. Don't tread on me, indeed. He calls this one the fuck Stephen Hawking. That feeling when you walk into the morning Pilates class and realize Tony Ferguson is the guest instructor. Are those pool noodles? This is getting goddamn good and close to playing touch butt in the park. Watch yourself there, El Cucuy. Seriously, this guy never gets tired. Tony Ferguson's a weird guy. His behavior doesn't necessarily comport with the social contract. Ferguson experiments with the nature of reality and perception. He doesn't want to play the role of a guy on stage doing a stare down. He wants to consciously be the guy on stage, awake and aware, the agency just behind his eyes. Rather than slipping into a socially expected role, he will do something extreme or unexpected to jolt himself back into the moment. He does the same thing in the cage all the time. Psychologically, it's normal to mirror your opponent and work from an unspoken but agreed upon pace and rhythm. Ferguson rejects this. If he feels himself falling into a shared rhythm, he does something radical to break the momentum and return to his autonomy. This behavior is often viewed as poor technique or bad tactics. Making abrupt changes to the flow of an exchange can result in unexpected consequences. Tony accepts these negatives, like taking unnecessary shots or giving up a position. Breaking the shared rhythm creates a level of discomfort for his opponent. Most importantly, it removes any sense of camaraderie that could unite fighters during the difficult moments and give them the will to push forward. Tony is willing to be alone and broken while nearly naked in the cage because it forces the same upon his foe. Isolation under duress is the very definition of hell. I'm telling you, from bell to bell, Tony Ferguson is a goddamn misanthrope. Hobbesian nightmare. Hit them and don't get hit in return. That's what the greats say. In practice, few have the capacity to pull this off. Those who do become transcendent. Myths and legends. Gods and goats. Then there's take one to give one. These are the badasses who smile at the phrase, 2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
Now when men get to fighting, it happens here, and it finishes here. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
A war of all against all. To hit and not get hit is like turning up the heat on your opponent while you stay cool. Take one to give one is taking turns who's under fire and who gets a respite. Tony Ferguson says, let's dial this octagon hellfire up to 11 so we both burn brightly, but only one burns long. There must be a little sadism in your heart to succeed at the higher levels of MMA. Tony Ferguson is a pure visceral masochist. He wants to break your body against his own, like a tick in his gravel-filled croup. Well, that's Tony Ferguson. He's the Rembrandt of the mat, the Gauguin of the guillotine, the Van Gogh of violence, if you will. I'm trying to say the man's an artist, people, a true martial artist. Thanks for watching Film Study and supporting this channel. If you like it for reals with a push of the button. Subscribe and avoid one of life's regrets. There are many interesting episodes in the works for this channel. In-depth analysis of interesting fighters and fights. Expect episodes from Cody Garbrandt and TJ Dillashaw, Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Rose, and possibly a one-eyed limey against an alien-abducted Canuck. There's a potential series about the psychology of PED use and what role the media and fans play. The Ask Me Anything episode 2 is half done, so there's still a little time to get in a question if you have one. Leave it here in the comments section or over on the Twitters. Last thing I'll mention is I'm hosting a new show with my buddy the Reverend Kitty. It'll be a weekly episode with a panel of MMA reporters and experts talking the big picture as well as the details of all things MMA. So keep your eyes peeled. And remember, this isn't supposed to be easy.